He opened his mouth for another bite, but his servant's hand was frozen. She stared off into the distance, eyes growing wider. She could still ignore him. Weak sparks of fire kindled in the air around his head, formed by his irritation. The egg echoed him, releasing fist-sized balls of blood-red fire. The egg's copies were stronger than his own, but that only excited him. The egg's power was his. Before he could pull the young woman's attention back by force, he noticed that the other two high golds, an old man with a trio of horns on his head and a motherly woman with iron-gray skin, were staring off in the same direction. He extended his balls of fire to the backs of their necks. All three of his servants fell to their knees with cries of pain as his power scorched their skin. "Tell me what it is," he demanded. He may have had power beyond any high gold, but he was still only low gold. Their spiritual perception was beyond his. They looked at each other, which only stoked his rage further. The balls of fire trembled, ready to drive through their bodies. Blood aura affected flesh, so the flames of the egg burned men more easily than wood. "We feel someone," the young woman said. She glanced at the ceiling and licked her lips. That was all she said. He wanted to slap her. The egg's power could boost his basic enforcer technique into a blow that would crush her skull. Instead, he stood and gripped her by the chin. Her face paled, and her eyes slid to the side so she didn't have to stare into his eyes. "When I ask a question, do you think I want half an answer? Tell me—" "It's a Skysworn," the older woman blurted from the floor. She bowed more deeply. "They must be here to recover the town after the great battle." The old man had also not dared to stand after Enkai forced him to kneel. "They will be pleased to know that you have already restored order." Despite their reassurance, or perhaps because of it, alarm spiked in Enkai's heart. The Skysworn were more than just a police force. They were wandering judges, empowered by the Empire to punish criminals. He had been raised on stories of independent sacred artists being inducted into the Skysworn and going on to become some of the Black Flame Empire's greatest heroes. Even the current emperor had served as a Skysworn for years. They could take away everything he'd earned for himself. They might even sense the egg in his spirit, and they would surely kill him and take it from his remnant. The thought of losing the egg made him sweat more than the thought of his death. Enkai released the high gold's chin and began stalking away, his fireballs blinking out of existence. He had created a room reinforced with scripts just for an occasion like this. He would hide until they went away. "Keep them away from me," he commanded. "Tell them nothing." Someone rapped on the window. As one, all four pairs of eyes snapped toward the sound. A man stood outside on a dark green cloud, arms crossed, in robes of deep blue. It looked almost like an Aurelius uniform, but there was no way he was there to clean the windows. Broad-shouldered and powerfully built, he loomed over the room, glaring like an executioner about to pass judgment. His right arm was a remnant prosthetic, a skeletally thin limb of white light. Despite his young age, he gave off an oppressive feeling, as though he were deciding which of them to destroy first. Enkai shivered at the sight of him, afraid to extend his spiritual perception lest he be punished. Though the egg had made him a conqueror, now he felt like a servant once again, flinching whenever an expert passed. Without waiting for instruction, the old man hurried over to the window and pushed it open. Only then did Enkai notice the pin on the stranger's chest, a green cloud. That was the emblem of the Skysworn, though a full member would be wearing a suit of jade armor. Perhaps a disciple? Or a subordinate, deputized to help deal with the emergency. Whoever the stranger was, Mu Enkai decided it was time to slip away before he was noticed. The Skysworn would assume the high golds were in charge anyway, and he gave off the air of a man looking for someone to punish. Let his anger fall on them, while Enkai snuck away. The egg would serve him just as well in some other town. "Pardon," the young stranger said, "but could you tell me which of you is in charge here?" His voice was apologetic, and he bowed slightly as he spoke. Enkai stopped at the top of the stairs. All three of the high golds glanced back, but the old man coughed before he spoke. "I am happy to represent my master before the Skysworn," he said, and Enkai breathed a little more easily. "Your master?" the Skysworn apprentice asked, looking surprised. "Is there a true gold in town?" Now that Enkai looked at him further, he saw that the man was even younger.
Para seguir escuchando este audiolibro gratuitamente, haz clic en el enlace de la descripción y podrás escucharlo completo sin coste gracias a la prueba de 30 días de Audible.